You went nuclear, harnessed the power of separation, and blew everyone's minds. You ate. We love that. We love that. That was so powerful of you. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're talking atomic nuclear physics today, baby. Powerful. So, all my ladies in STEM, pull up. Okay. So, when we talk metaphorically about someone going nuclear, she went nuclear. It means you react with extreme anger, resort to drastic destructive measures, or completely abandon all restraints in a conflict. It implies a total escalation where the consequences are severe and irreversible. And if you're tuning in with me, if you're resonating with this message, if you don't know why you clicked on this and you're staying through, this is for you. I feel like recently you have gone nuclear. You maybe lost your temper, you were fed up, the straw that broke the camel's back, and you were just like, nah. You threw a tantrum. You unleashed a highly aggressive personal attack. Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes you got to. Maybe at job in business or at a job, you burned bridges. You took an action that destroys any chance of future cooperation. Maybe you sued somebody. Maybe you quit on the spot. Maybe you talked back to someone. You were like, I've had it. Let me read this girl for filth. Maybe you shared information that is damaging to someone, truthful information that is well within your rights to share, but it was damaging someone. In politics, the nuclear option is like when a ruling majority unilaterally changes the rules to bypass the minority party, to like override a filibuster or like veto something or force a vote. That's what you did. You were like, oh, I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm doing this. You used your power and you were like, I'm getting the F up out of here. I quit. I'm done. I'm out. Powerful. We love. We love. Okay. So I got into thinking about, I have a friend who's into nuclear energy, and apparently it's this really abundant energy source. And the power of it is, you take an atom and you split it, you separate the atom, and the energy that is generated from that can either be used to destroy a whole bunch of stuff, or it can actually power an entire city. It's like this size of like the nuclear material is enough to generate enough power to power an entire city for a year. Like, that's wild. That's how much power is generated from the act of separation. Ooh. And that's what you've done. Ooh, you have seen, you like, went with yourself and you saw the places that were just not aligned, were limiting your power. You being unified in these spaces was limiting your power. It's really limiting everyone's power. The power is in your ability to separate, your ability to be like, I quit, I'm out of here. Your ability to be like, I don't care what you guys are talking about, I'm doing this. Ooh, so powerful. I love that for us. And yeah, it's like, I think the splitting the atom is that kind of what created the Big Bang. When you harness the power of separation, it creates worlds. Oof. When you separate yourself from the pack, it there's more available to you. I was thinking about too, when you like if someone is like climbing a mountain, sometimes you have to cut off people who are below so that you can continue to ascend safely. Mm. When a rocket ship is going into space, it eventually has to separate from the thrusters and the things that got it there so that it can go into orbit and blast off and whatnot. The power of separation. And so you went nuclear. You were like, I'm out. I am separating from this structure that I used to be a part of. And you took that power that was generated from your separation and you poured it into you. That's another thing about like nuclear physics, I think. It's like the part that is separated from the whole um, is lighter than the whole, lighter and more powerful. So it can do more, it can go more. When it's in the whole, whatever the hydrogen atom or something, I don't know. It's way down, it's heavy, it's inert. It can't do anything when it's all together. The power is when it's split. That's where the power comes from. And you did that. You split off and it blew everyone's mind. They never expect anyone to use the nuclear option. Um, People kind of expect only certain people to be able to use the nuclear option because it's so crazy. You're just like, no, you can't use the nuclear option. You can't come back from that. Looking at you, United States of America, okay? But you use that personally. And that's what the powers that were don't want you to realize. They don't want you to realize the power of separation. I think about like the Zionists, okay? They've actually done a really good job of harnessing the power of separation, being like, we are this separate group of chosen people, and the rules that apply to everyone else, the whole, do not apply to us. However, they do want you to use the power of unity to unify around letting them be treated separately. And so, like, when something separates from the whole, it is more powerful than the unified thing. Okay. So I'm thinking kind of like when a woman creates a child and she gives birth, the child separates from her vessel. For a little bit of time, the woman is weaker. And the child has all of this power, all of this potential to grow, all of this healing ability. And it weakens kind of the original thing. Okay. Um, yeah. So, anyway, back to the Zionists. I say Jewish people need to separate from the terrorist entity, the Zionist entity, um, and it will not only weaken the Zionist entity, it will empower the Jews that separate from it. Ooh, because right now your power is being used to fuel this horrific, child killing thing that's just so racist and violent. Like we really can't believe it. And so I feel like you have been separating from the crowd. Your atomic going nuclear was splitting from mass consciousness. You knew that you are going to be more powerful alone. You are more powerful not being weighed down by what everyone else wants you to do, what everyone else is doing, what everyone else has done. You know your power is in your ability to split. There's so much power generated from that. In fact, it can power you for at least a year, 2 years, probably lots of years. Remember, I was talking about like a little bit of like the nuclear thing can power a city. Yeah. So not only does it do that, it's going to power you because now you have all your power. You're not using your power to help this whole thing thrive. You separated, you used that power for yourself, and it destroyed the old structure. That no longer has power over you. Oof. Wow. And it just blew everyone's minds. They're like, oh my God, what? I didn't even know anyone could do that. No one quits on the spot, except in the movies. But you're the main character of this cosmic movie that we're in. So the main character quits on the spot. The main character is going to stand up to the bully. The main character is going to be like, burn the bridges. And yeah, you didn't just burn the bridges, you went nuclear. You like decimated the shore and the harbor upon which the boats were chilling. Wow. That is so much energy. It's an abundant energy source, this nuclear energy, this power of separation. And, yeah, the powers that were, want you to be unified. They want you to fit in. They want you to be really concerned about being different, separating from the crowd. They want you to fear the crowd separating you. And that's why you have to reclaim the power for yourself. When you harness the power of separation, there's no limit to what you can do. Yeah, I think I said this in another one recently, like, the proverb, if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go fast, you go alone. And we've come far enough. And now we need you to go fast. We need you to ascend quickly. You see behind all the illusions. That has been blown up. You're fed up with it. You're separating from it. You're separating from the people who are just going along with it, who see what's going on, but are just like, I don't know, nothing I can do. No power. You know your power is in your ability to separate. Literally, I got to look into it, but maybe is that what the Big Bang is? It's like a splitting of something, and the force that is generated from that splitting created universes. It at least created the galaxy, right? Which in turn created all these worlds, all of these Big Bangs, all of these nuclear explosions, all of these splittings generate power. And now you're harnessing that. So, yeah, you split from mass consciousness, and that has enabled you to have this pure, clean, sustainable energy to fuel you. You are seeing how powerful you are. You are seeing how much energy has been generated from you splitting, from you going nuclear. People were really like, whoa, I have never seen this before. This is crazy. The destruction. Oh my God. Some people are looking at it in horror. Some are looking at it in awe. And they're just like, wow, it's a new world. Mm, powerful. I love that. Ooh. Yeah. And so the guy who's really into nuclear energy, like apparently one of the things about it, it's like this very sustainable, easy source. They already have like, all that they need. And yeah, it seems like it's kind of just, a matter of convincing people to use it because like, right now we have all of the oil people who make a lot of money extracting and polluting when we have this clean, renewable, abundant energy source that we're just like not using. People have this fear that it can only be used as, a weapon, a bomb. But that it can be used to heal and nourish and animate, give life. So I think you're here to show us how to harness the power of separation. It no longer is just something that, the imperialists, the Zionists, the men can use to consolidate their power, right? The powers that were will instantly harness the power of separation. They will institute an apartheid, gender apartheid, race apartheid, doesn't matter, religious apartheid. They will separate and harness the power that comes from that separation for themselves. But you're on to them. You see what's going on now. You see that, like, once you go nuclear, people are so unused to it, they don't really know how to respond. They're just going to stare in awe and let you do what you want. And they're going to like talk about it for years. They're going to be like, oh my God, I've never seen a light so blinding. I've never heard a sound so deafening. I've never experienced such an I've never experienced such an earth-shattering phenomena like you separating. Ooh, it was iconic. It was so powerful. It left everyone speechless and dumbfounded. They were like, I love it. You dropped the mic. And I have the feeling too that like your ancestors were behind you. Like you're the first person in your lineage to harness the power of separation like that. Everyone else let themselves be siphoned for the good of the group. But you recognize how powerful it is to split, go your own way. I was just thinking about how, like, when, like, on a football team, sometimes the coach separates the captain from the rest of the team and gives them specific information. And it's not because they're trying to hurt the team, it's because, like, it's more efficient, it's more powerful when you separate this one person. And yeah, I guess that's the thing. Power is generated from separation, separating the atom, and from fusing it again. Ooh, but we are here to talk about the power of separation. I think once we harness and figure out how to fully harness the power of separation, detaching, then we'll worry about fusing again and unifying. But right now, you're mastering separation, okay? And so yeah, I think also it has to do with, like, detachment. The way you know your manifestations are coming in is when you kind of forget about it, when you detach from the outcome, when you live as if it's already here, and you separate from the striving for this thing. You're no longer working towards the thing because it's here. So you separate from it. You're, like, not attached to the outcome. Yeah. And that calls it in. Yeah, it's like living in the end. Yeah, detaching from the outcome. And so you can kind of live in the present. And that's where all the power is. The power is always in this present moment. It came from you separating yourself from mass consciousness, from other people. You needed to have all of this energy to yourself so that you could fully harness it. Yeah. And it destroyed the old ways of being. The old versions of you are no longer in control. I think there was that last definition of it, which was like, the majority of a company can, like, override the will of the minority. And I feel like you did that in your office, in your workplace, in your family setting. You were like, I'm actually the most powerful stakeholder. So what I say goes. And we're doing this. Yeah, you guys can talk about it and whatever, but we're doing this. Nuclear option has been employed. And you go your own way, harness the power of separation. So powerful. I was thinking we met up with our friend who recently broke up with her boyfriend. They separated, and she was, of course, sad about it. But she was, like, excited that she's gonna have more, money now. She doesn't have to, like, worry about two people. Which, like, what? You should be like, in theory, it should be like, wait, two people going down to one, you have less resources, unless you were in an unequal relationship, in which case you separating means you now have more money for yourself. You can do battle by yourself, okay? So harness the power of separation and get going, okay? Blow people's minds. Use that abundant energy that you get from harnessing the power of separation. Burn your bridges and go forth. Mm, powerful. Love it. Damn, I can deliver a message. I love that for me. I love that for you. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll talk to you, Earth Angels, later, okay? Love you. Bye.